Hello students, once again it is time for social studies for JS1. Today the topic we are discussing is group behavior, and before now we have looked at the definition of a social group, and we said it's a group of people and organized people who have some aims and objectives to achieve. So today we want to look at group behavior. At the end of this lesson, the students are expected to define group behavior. 2, they should be able to outline the types of group behavior and of course state the benefits of group behavior. Now let's start. What do we mean by group behavior? Of course, the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary defines it as acting in a particular way. So group behavior will then mean the way 2 or more individuals in a group act or conduct themselves in a coordinated manner to achieve a goal. It is a collective behavior, conduct, or a collective action. So what does that mean? It simply means that as an individual can act under a particular situation or circumstance, a group can also be motivated, probably by leadership, to act in a particular way. So that way that the group acts is regarded as what? Group behavior. Now, what are the types of group behavior? Now, we can have different types of group behavior. Some of them listed here. We have mass action. Then 2, crowd/mob action. And then 3, we have group action. Then 4, rampage group. 5, mass hysteria. 6, spectator sport. And 7, communal labor. We shall take time to explain each of these groups. First of all, what do we mean by mass action? Now, this refers to people behaving similarly on a large scale or a global level. Now, here a large group of people may act simultaneously to achieve a goal. It may be peaceful or violent. Example is students' protests in higher institutions against a sudden increase in school fees. I am sure that many of us are aware that sometimes a student body could come and probably aggrieved because of a particular policy, and they will go on, demonstration. This demonstration could be peaceful. Sometimes also it could be violent. Also, sometimes we have some other groups in society, demonstrating concerning a particular issue. So it's called a mass action. And usually a mass action is done on a large scale, probably on a national level or probably even global level. Secondly, we have what is called mob action. Now, what is mob action? This refers to a large crowd of people, especially one that may become violent or cause trouble. Usually, it is an angry or unruly mob. Now, what does that mean? Sometimes you could see, a situation where an aggrieved group of people decide to become unruly, decide to become violent, thereby taking laws into their hands. Sometimes for those of us who have gone to Lagos, sometimes you could see a suspected a criminal or thief. Suddenly the mob descends on him, put some used tire on him and set him ablaze. Now that's a mob action. Sometimes they call it jungle justice. Now the next one there we have is group action. Now this refers to a group behavior of a small group that is coordinated at a given place. Here the group may reach consensus and act in a coordinated manner. Now, it's more like another type of mass action, but this happens on a smaller scale. And usually they are organized, probably with a coordinated leadership, who directs them on what to do and how to do it at a particular time. Now, so that is group action. Then the next one is, rampage. Of course, the word itself will show you that this suggests a negative term. What is the meaning of rampage? This refers to a sudden period of wild and violent behavior, often causing damage and destruction. For one reason or the other, gangs of youths may go on rampage in the city to achieve their aims. Usually in time of, crisis, you see youths may decide to go on rampage, or probably during religious, riots. You see people running helter-skelter. There is killing, there is destruction of property. Sometimes you may not even really know why you are on that rampage. And some people can join without knowing the reason why they are there. All they know is that there is rampage and property, is destroyed, lives are wasted, and there is crisis everywhere. So rampage is not a good option for airing grievances. Then the next one we'll look at is what is called mass hysteria. What do we mean by mass hysteria? Now, this refers to a state of extreme excitement, fear, or anger, in which a group of people loses control of emotion. And sometimes you see some people crying. You see someone that's laughing. And then, for example, if you have gone to big occasions, probably when the late Michael Jackson was alive, if you watch his shows on television, you see sometimes people will start shouting. Some youths will start jumping, some will cry, some will laugh, some will even faint. You begin to wonder what is really happening. Just because of the excitement, and probably because their hero is on stage and they lose control of their emotions. So that could be regarded as what? Hysteria. Now, when it is done on a large scale, it is called mass hysteria. So that's another group behavior that we see. Then the next one is spectator sport. What do we mean by spectator sport? Now, this is a situation where you have a large number of people, attending a particular sport event. Like in Nigeria today, many people argue that that football is one of the games that unite Nigerians. Now, what does that mean? It means that, during football matches, probably the ones that Nigeria is competing in or featuring, people forget their differences. They forget their tribal differences. They forget their religion. They forget their ethnic differences, and they come, in support of their country. Sometimes you even see the head of state, coming out to be part of the spectators. And, if you watch such games, if Nigeria wins, you see that it becomes joy for the whole country or entire nation. So that's another group, another aspect of group behavior, where you find the group reacting in a particular way due to a particular situation or event. Now, the next type of group behavior is called what? Communal labor. Now, what do we mean by communal labor? This refers to a number of people coming together to initiate and execute projects for their community, such as civic centers, school building, health centers, pipe-borne water. And I want to believe that even in your community, there must be a particular community project going on now. And probably either your parents are involved or you are involved. Why is communal labor necessary? Sometimes it is used to develop the community. Sometimes when you expect, the federal representation or the state project coming into your community and it is not forthcoming, what do? The community can decide to come together and say, let's see how we can help ourselves. There are communities where a borehole has been sunk, just by the effort of members of that community. So it is another type of group behavior, communal labor. People coming together to say, oh, let's see how we can help ourselves, instead of just waiting endlessly for the government to bring projects into our land. So these are the various types of group behavior. Now, quickly, what are the benefits of group behavior? Now, we are going to look at what people stand by behaving in a particular way. And first of all, just like we previously mentioned now, we have community development. When the group behaves well, behaves in a constructive manner, peacefully, what do they achieve? There is collective action or mass action which can give rise to community development. For example, electricity, for example, pipe-borne water, town halls. Some communities have even gone to the extent of constructing, schools and, institution and the educational projects whereby the members of the society go for learning. Some have started a kind of economic group whereby the less privileged can come and benefit. I know, like in my community, sometimes during the holidays, we can organize what we call a tutorial for the students who are on holidays, so that instead of wasting their time idling away, we can come and teach them, coach them, especially those preparing for examinations. And by that, the community is developing and being improved. Sometimes there are people, living outside the community, and they say, oh, what do we do to help the community? They can come together and say, let's begin, to invest or to bring in some project. A good example today is the group of Nigerians in diaspora. There are some Nigerians who are in diaspora today. Many of them are coming together now, and they are saying, what can we do for Nigeria? There is a DG, somebody in charge of coordinating the Nigerians in diaspora. I think that's Honorable Abike Dabere, who mobilizes these people. And many of them have brought in so many wonderful projects. Many of them have brought in money, funds to start up big projects that will be able to help Nigeria grow. Now, another benefit of group behavior is that it helps to achieve peace and unity. Now, how does this work? For example, if there is an issue, instead of fighting, instead of warring, instead of, becoming violent, people can come together and say, how do we resolve this issue? In one of our lessons, I told us something when we treated group conflict. One of the way of resolving group conflict, we said, that it is better to judge than to war. We said that it is better to do what? Judge than to war. What does it mean to judge? It means talking. Talking over issues. Coming to a round table to discuss issues rather than going to fight. Because even when you go to fight, at the end of the day, you will still return to dialogue to find a lasting solution. So group behavior helps to achieve that. Sometimes you see students who have issues. Instead of presenting the issues, probably to the authority, they go on rampage. What happens during this rampage? They end up destroying school property. They end up destroying the things that they were, supposed to use in learning. And then eventually the authorities begin to reconstruct those things. So the students find themselves that they are disadvantaged. Instead of discussing in peace and in unity, they decide to take up arms. Most of the time, it does not bring good result. Then another benefit of a group behavior is achievement of goals. Collective action can lead to achievement of goals. Now, what does that mean? A community may have a particular project in mind. Now, if they don't come together in unity to discuss how this project can be achieved, definitely it will never be achieved. No, so group behavior makes it possible for goals to be achieved. That is why unity is very important. There is this saying that united we stand, divided we fall. So if a particular group does not, advocate for unity and for collective action, then there is going to be what? Disagreement. So group behavior helps in the achievement of what? Stated goals. Every group, be it a political group, be it an economic group, be it whatever group, have goals to achieve. Let's take, for example, political party. What is the goal of a political party? Primarily to do what? To win elections. To win elections. Now, so how do they go about winning elections? Will everybody come and bring their own different goals or principles? No. Everybody will decide to subsume their ideas, their opinions into the party opinion. Even if you have your own individual opinion, you could let it go. Just for what? For the collective opinion. For example, we were told that, the various parties contesting for the gubernatorial candidate for Edo State decided to step down for the new man called Obaseki. And eventually, Mr. Obaseki now has emerged as the flag bearer of PDP in Edo State. How was he able to do that? You know the story. He left APC. He is now in PDP. And immediately he came to PDP, everybody in PDP felt that he is a marketable candidate. And every other gubernatorial aspirant decided to do what? Step down. Now that is group behavior. If all the members of that group decided to, pursue their personal agenda, it will not have worked. Now, so the next one we have there is that group behavior also creates what we call awareness. Collective or group action creates public awareness to problems of the group and suggests ways of solving the problem. Just like we have in Nigeria, the minority group sometimes will come and say, we are being marginalized. Like recently, some people from the southeast or south have accused, the federal government of marginalization. And they have even taken the case, to a high level, saying, no, we must be paid compensation for being marginalized. What is the argument? That the appointment is lopsided, favoring a particular group at their expense. Now, they didn't go to war. They didn't go to fight. They didn't go to create a conflict. No. But they quietly came together and agreed that we need to work out a situation to create awareness to our situation. So too, you find that in any group that you belong, if you are being marginalized, if there is an issue that is leading to your not being properly taken care of, you don't need to take the laws into your hand. You can form a group. You can decide to invite your group and say, let us go on a peaceful demonstration. Let us send representation to the presidency. Let us send representation to the National Assembly. Let us make our voices to be heard. And in that process, you will find out that people will begin to sympathize with you. For example, in Nigeria, women feel that they are being marginalized in appointments, in situations. And today, people are rising up in favor of the women. So, this is what we have today for group behavior. And quickly, you need to take down some assignments so as to ensure that what we have taught today is well understood. So we have the following questions, and please make sure you answer them. Number 1, what is group behavior? What is group behavior? Number 2, state and briefly discuss types of group behavior. State and briefly discuss the types of group behavior. And finally, what are the benefits of group behavior? I hope the lesson was well understood. Please remain safe, protect yourself, and make sure that you do not do things that will expose you to COVID-19. Thank you very much, and God bless you. I remain once again your social studies teacher, Pastor Nwakanma Anthony. Thank you very much.